प्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, mind, all sensory and motor organs and the life force become virulent and strong. All is verily the one absolute blissful reality, the Brahman. Let me never deny Brahman. May Brahman never reject me either. May all the virtues spoken of by the Upanishads, necessary for realization of Brahman, be with me. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel all the names and forms, identification with which is limiting our infinite nature, are gone. In the absence of name and form, I come to see the intrinsic oneness of the whole existence. In that true state of being, there is no multiplicity, no time or space. I am feeling this infinite, unchanging, true identity of mine. I now see I am divine. desires, for I am perfection itself. I am the bliss absolute. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Connecting, okay. So we shall begin the discussion in this 10th class on Svetasvatara Upanisad with our usual prayers. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we attain strength together. May our study make us illumined. May there be no dislike between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. The Upanishad is clarifying further the idea of the intrinsic oneness of the whole existence, and that existence is to be seen as my reality. This is an important step, a very important step, friends, because then we see that yes, It is so near to me. It is inside me. It is around me. And there is no reason for me not to realize the truth. It is, and that is explained in this 12th verse of the first chapter. एतज्ज्ञेयं नित्यमेवात्मसंस्थं नातः परं वेदितव्यं हि किञ्चित् भोक्ता भोग्यं प्रेरितारं च मत्वा सर्वं प्रोक्तं त्रिविधं ब्रह्ममेतत्. Let us read the translation. You can all join in reading aloud. This is to be known as eternally existing in one's own self. Indeed, there is nothing to be known beyond this. As a result of meditation, the enjoyer, the enjoyed, and the power which brings about the enjoyment, all are declared to be the three aspects of Brahman. So, this is the important thing to see, that it is my true nature, the all-pervading reality. And this is, as we shall see gradually, a matter of constant practice, to learn to live with this awareness that the all-pervading divine existence is in me. It is to get connected with that is so very important, and that awareness needs to be cultivated more and more intensely. So, and then what happens with that? You see, there is nothing beyond this. Anything else we know, there is always beyond. It is what is next, what more is to be known. You see, therefore, in all different fields of education, you study something, then it opens doors for something more to be learned, something more to be invented, or more to be found out. It is a continuous progression, as it were, about what is to be known. There is no end to it. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, where there is knowledge, there is ignorance. As the knowledge increases, the ignorance increases. This is the nature of this worldly knowledge. It never ever comes to conclusion. It is that, well, now we have known everything. It cannot go anywhere beyond. Because always there is, you know something, and you realize that you don't know many more things. It is before knowing that you were not even aware that you don't know so many things. Now you know something, so your knowledge has increased, but then you see you don't know so many things. You see your ignorance also has increased. It is again just permutation and combination of various things. It is very similar to our view from a kaleidoscope. You see, and then, wow, it is a very fascinating, infinite, manifestation, that you see so many different things. Have you seen Tommy through kaleidoscope? Yeah, there are only a couple of few beads of glass there, and then you keep on rotating, you see new new formations, new things, and it is never ending. You end it because you feel tired or because you have something else to do. You feel hungry, now it is time for food. Otherwise, one can spend, eh, all the time because there is no end to it. It can never be a complete knowledge. It is shifting, changing, expanding, and thus there is no end to it. This world is like that, continuously subject to change. The connections change, relationship change, our logic changes, the way we think changes. It is all very, very, on a flimsy ground. There is no solid ground on which this knowledge is based. It is on a very impermanent shifting sand that this edifice of our worldly knowledge is built. So, compared to that, this knowledge of the self, when one sees this, nothing remains to be known. And so it is said that uh, beyond that there is nothing to be known. When you know that infinite to be your reality, nothing more remains to be known. This idea you will see coming across all different Upanishadic texts. Very important idea that here is the goal of all knowledge, also all bliss. As you get there, you realize this truth that there is, I got it, that's it. My reality, nothing more remains to be learnt, remains to be known. It is a question that gets asked in the beginning of Mundak Upanishad. Very similar idea is given there. The questioner there is a very scholarly person and comes to the teacher. It is and asks this question. The name of the teacher given there is Angira. So, and the name of the student is Shaunak. So, this Shaunak comes with the question that what is it knowing which everything becomes known? Everything will become known. Obviously, this Shaunak is seeing that otherwise there is no end to knowing, no end to ignorance. It is continuously shifting, changing the very norms of making that judgment changes. It is found nowhere more clearly in the field of medical science, that the ideas keep on shifting, ideas about cholesterol and all that. It is on such a flimsy ground. Every now and then, every few years, you see them shifting and changing. It is therefore what I mean, in every field it is like that. And yet we have within us that uh, desire, that aspiration, that I want to know everything. And a analytical person easily sees that then that way, the way we go to learn is not the right way, because in that way you do not conclusively understand or know anything. It becomes infinite. That is a contradiction in everything, that about being finite or infinite. There is a beautiful lecture of Swami Vivekananda called Open Secret. That itself is a contradiction. If it is open, how could it be secret? And if it is secret, obviously it is hidden, it is not open. But this is an open secret, that everything that we perceive, uh, whether if it is thought of, whether it is finite or infinite, and in the first this first sight it appears to be finite. He takes the example there in that lecture. Let us take this common rose. You will say that it is finite. Uh, what, Paul? Will you not consider a rose to be finite? This is in my palm of my hand. It is pretty finite. I see it. It is finite. Yeah. But who has been able to know each and everything about the rose, how this particular formation of rose comes, what are the intricacies involved in its manufacture, and all that. You see that you do not know most of these things. The rose that appeared pretty much to be finite has eluded your grasp, so to say, it has become infinite. So, this is the case with everything, that it is very elusive. So, therefore, this questioner comes with this quest, that knowing which everything becomes known, tell me that. And the answer given to him after an important discussion about the two ways in which one see the knowledge, and then comes to the conclusion that tamev ekam janatha atmanam, you know the self alone, and know the self alone. Everything else is just the name and form. It is tameva ekam janatha atmanam anya vacho vimunchatha. All else is giving different names to that very thing. And therefore, get away from that kind of what you call knowledge. It is not knowledge at all. So, it is important here to see that this self, once you know it, that's the goal. Nothing remains to be achieved thereafter. And then you see that this division that we always feel, I am the subject, the enjoyer. Say this world is to be enjoyed. Like suppose our Carol is eating a candy. Then she feels quite legitimately like anybody, I am Carol the enjoyer. The candy is enjoyed. And then who governs that this candy should bring enjoyment? The third, that connection between the enjoyer and enjoyed, the act of enjoyment. These three are in ignorance seen separately. But as this knowledge wakes up, then you see the three to be identical. That difference vanishes. This is an important thing to realize, that there is really no difference as such, that enjoyer and enjoyed, subject and object. It is like I am seeing you, but you are seeing me. So, from my angle, this is the observer, this is the observed. from that angle, from your perspective, you are the subject, you are the observer, and this is the observed. So, this relation is not a constant thing. Also, uh, this idea is more clearly explained in Taittiriya Upanishad. Here also that idea will come later again, that when we enjoy something, we get enjoyed as well. It is a very funny contradiction in human psyche, that we want to enjoy, but hidden inside there is that I also like to get enjoyed. It is both these things come together. Therefore, I want to make myself presentable, looking good. So what does it mean? I should be enjoyable by others. It is, you see that I am enjoyer as well as enjoyed. In Taittiriya Upanishad it is said that the food is to be eaten and the food eats too. It is the definition of food given there is like that. Adyate atticha bhutani tasmad annam taduchyate. That adyate, that it is eaten. That is why it gets called food. This is pretty understandable by everybody. Why a bagel is called food? Subhashish, why bagel is to be called food? Because it is eaten, quite obvious that it is food because it gets eaten. This part was very clear, but the Upanishad then throws a curveball, as it were, that it is atticha bhutani, it eats you too. While you think that you are eating the bagel is also eating you. It is, one needs to ponder this a little more, that it is all so relative, that the bagel now has kind of taken you in it, and that bagel now being called now as you. You eat the bagel, now you say I. Now that bagel gets called, the food gets called as I. So the food has swallowed you, you have gone into the food. So it eats you. So you eat the food, food eats you. So this kind of question always remains in these, in our perception, very contradictory, and therefore all these contradictions get dissolved. They are gone when you see all these distinctions to be non-existent, and you see that same Brahman, same God everywhere. And this is matter of experience. It is very good to relate to the experience of Sri Ramakrishna or other saintly people who actually experience this, that they are seeing divine everywhere. So, everything is seen at one level different, but they are never devoid of the knowledge of their intrinsic oneness, and thus they have never such illusion that well, how they are different and how they are same. They are feeling the presence of the divine everywhere. So this is how the life changes. It is not a theoretical understanding alone, but it is matter of living life in that light. So, that is what is told here, that it is we all have this inner awareness. It never ever goes away. The 13th verse, that it may not be manifested, but it is ever there, never goes away. Vaneryatha योनिगतस्य मूर्ति न दृश्यते नैव च लिङ्गनाशः स भूय एवेन्धनयोनिगृह्यस्तद्वो भयं वै प्रणवेन देहे. Fire is not perceived in its cause. The fire stick, they cause the fire stick till it is ignited by percussion. The subtle essence of fire, nevertheless, is not absent in the stick, for fire can be obtained from the source, the fire stick, by striking again. The state of the Atman, hence Atman, before and after realization, is like that of the fire before and after percussion. By meditating on the pranava, the Om, the Atman is perceived manifestly in the body, but it was there in a latent state even before realization. And this is an important statement, that where our efforts are needed, each of us is divine. That Swami Vivekananda's famous sentence, each soul is potentially divine. That divinity has never left us. It is ever with us. Irrespective of how our life is moving, it is there. Just as in a wood stick, the fire is there. Although it would not be manifest all the time, but if you call forth for it, if you rub it, or that was the time when they had to bring the fire by rubbing the wood sticks. So, by hitting or rubbing the wood stick, the fire would come. Now you may just put the matchstick and you will see the fire coming from that wood. Now, it was there even though you did not see it. When you will ignite it, then the fire manifests. So, that vanner yatha yonigatasya murti, a beautiful language, very difficult really to translate into English, that the fire in its seed form, even though you don't see it, it is ever there, na linganashah. It is never gone. It is there. It has not manifested, that's all. It is ever there. Like our potential, suppose somebody is a wonderful singer. Like our Abhijit is a good singer. So, but not that he is always singing, but even when he is not singing, that singerness, that quality is there. Even though you won't see him singing all the time, yet that quality, that potential, that capability has not left him. Exactly when the occasion comes, then it gets manifested. So, similarly, it is that the divine is never gone. One may think, that, oh, that man is so bad. How can that man be divine? Well, it is not manifest. But it never actually goes away. How such person can be considered divine? Look at all the heinous, cruel acts that person has done. Well, it is true that at that time the divine was not manifest, but that doesn't mean it was gone. It is never absent. That is the better way of putting it. Nachalinga nashaha. That its presence in the seed form is never gone. It is another way of looking at it is with this analogy that in a seed, mm, the tree is present. Whether you plant it or you don't plant it, the tree is there in the seed. If you plant it and take proper care, it manifests. It is. If not, still it is there. Whenever you want to get it manifest, you just sow the seed, give it proper conditions, and it will manifest. So each of us must keep this idea very clear in us that there is in me that complete possibility of that knowledge getting manifested, that divinity will get manifested. It is never gone. Let us not succumb to this idea, which as a depressing thought comes to all of us at times, that this birth, I am embroiled in so many different things, probably not possible. Next birth, I will see in the next birth, I have become right from my childhood a deeply religious person. I will become a very good Swami or whatever, and thus next birth I will realize God. Hopefully, this birth, it seems to be quite remote. Already I am so old. How many days are left for me? How many years my and we keep on, giving these depressing thoughts to ourselves that it is, well, the better part of my life is already behind me. Now I am just counting some remaining days, that's about it. And what can I achieve? And look, there is this law of karma. All that I have done, I have to repudiate, and then only it is possible. And I have done such so many bad things, and I went in a big way into the worldly enjoyments. Now, to extricate myself from all those attachments seems to be very, very tough. So, I don't see any chance in this life at least. What do you think, Charlie? Hmm? Uh, it is, I am not making this point. This idea comes to many people, very depressing and wrong idea basically. Uh, because the moment you decide to take an about turn, it is, you are right there. It is, don't think about what you did in so many years. It is, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that's a very nice example. That if a room is dark, nobody went there for say 1,000 years. A room is dark for 1,000 years. Now, if you light a lamp, how long does the darkness take to go? Do you say, oh, for 1,000 years it was dark, so that darkness will it take 1,000 years to go? Instantaneously it gets illumined. So, when this knowledge springs up, that's it, you see. It is then whether you are a Swami or whether you are a householder, whether you are living in Himalayas or whether you are living right on a busy distinct place like Times Square in New York, doesn't matter. That with that knowledge, all this ignorance will just get burnt, and you see that you are divine. It is that simple. It can happen any moment. Let us be prepared for it. Let us be convinced that it is in me. It is never gone. Even if there is, say, gold. And gold, I am taking this example, and this example is given in the scriptures because gold does not get reacted upon by most of the things in nature. Almost you can't, most of the acids also cannot act upon gold. It is the atmosphere changes do not affect it. It remains as it is. So, even if there is lot of dirt on it, it is still gold. Its goldness has never gone. Just clean it a bit, and it's that example is also given in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. This Upanishad that the gold, even though it was lying in dirt, it still has never gone. That goldness has never gone. So, whatever kind of life we might have lived, that doesn't mean that the innate purity of our soul has ever been sullied. It is impossible it to be defiled. It is there. So, looking at that, this particular verse says that remember that it can be brought out by resolve that yes, let me bring it out, and you can bring it out. It is, if you know that you have kept a winter coat that in the closet. Now, during these earlier warmer days, I didn't pay any attention to that the sweaters and all they were in that closet closed. But I knew it is there. When the cold temperatures will be there, I will take it out. And sure enough, it was there. Just take it out and put it on. So now it becomes expressed. So similarly, know that that divine is present in me. Know for sure. And that will just change the way one lives. It is so very life-giving idea. And the other, it is when people say next birth, the question is what is it not going to be similar to this birth? If you cannot realize it in this birth, tell me one good reason that you will be able to realize in the next birth. There is really no reason. It is just self-deception that it is that our one devotee was telling, oh, next birth I will become a Swami or a nun, and then I can put in all my efforts It is at this birth it is difficult to become a nun or a Swami. But I said to her, you can become liberated in this birth. Liberation is not conditioned by being a Swami or a nun. Liberation is for everyone. And by becoming a Swami, that does not either guarantee liberation. It is dependent on knowledge. If you have that knowledge shining forth in you, you get liberation, whether you are a Swami or a householder. So, therefore, maybe becoming a formal Swami or nun is difficult for you, but realizing God is not difficult. It is, you cannot easily change the worldly characteristics of you. Worldly means physical characteristic, like if I decide, let me be 6.5 feet tall. Not possible, you see, it will require lot of work. I don't know, there may be some medications or what to make me uh, grow 6.5 feet tall, because that is not possible. It is, but that is not a condition for getting this self knowledge which is intrinsic there. So this also therefore tells that know that it is there. So you will not feel the sense of difficulty or impossibility. And do you see this, Naomi? Huh? Yeah, it is very much possible that yes, I can realize God. That self confidence has to be cherished, cultivated. Again and again, this fact has to be hammered into us that the God is in me and can be manifested at any time. I have the capability in me. It is, and with this, that latent divinity, when manifested, all problems are solved, as it were. And then the next couple of verses, they deal with that. Swadehamaranим kritva pranavam chottararanим ध्यानाब ध्यान निर्मथनाभ्यासात् देवं पश्येन्निगूढवत् ध्यान nirmathanabhyasat. That it is a very beautiful analogy in continuation with the last verse, that okay, in the fire there is this, in the wood this is the fire. Now that fire is to be brought out by rubbing. That is the sadhana. Rub it. That, and so your body consciousness, swadeham, that body consciousness, like I say, Yogatmananda, is this particular awareness that I am this body. That awareness has to be changed, rubbed. Pranavam chottararanam. By what? Hold that wood and strike it. Rub it with pranava, means that om. Om. Om is the symbolization of all spiritual practice that has been mentioned or given to you by the Guru, the teacher. That is all symbolized by this Om. Om, therefore, is considered Om hi etad aksharam idam sarvam. All this is verily Om. That rub this awareness that I am this body. Swadeham aranim kritva. That this our not that you have to keep the body. Don't take this mantra very literally. Let us read the translation. Making one's own body the lower piece of the wood and the pranava, the om, the upper piece of the wood, and practicing churning in the form of meditation, one should realize God as one would find out something already there hidden. So, this is the nature of meditation or spiritual practice. Swadeham aranim kritva. Not that you say, okay, take another wood and write Om on it and keep on rubbing. That is not what is meant here. The awareness this that I am this body is to be rubbed by this Om, that I am all pervading reality. I am divine. That is the pranava, that is the sadhana given by the Guru. Do it, keep on doing it, keep on rubbing that on you, and then just as that fire comes out from the wood, because it is inherently there, so it comes out. So also the divine manifest. This is the meditation. Do we see, Paul, what is meditation? Is this rubbing, this unreal awareness that I am the body or the mind. In Vedanta, mind is also subtle body. So, identification with that is to be rubbed with this meditative practice, which consists of telling ourselves, I am divine, I am divine, I am God. In various ways it is done, in psychologically suitable ways, through various divine forms, or the efficacious mantras. You rub that on the body awareness. Swadeham aranim kritva pranavam chottaranim dhyana nirmathanad beva devam pashet deva. And deva has a beautiful connotation. That which is luminous is called deva. That luminous reality within this that self manifests, and that's it. It is so. It is possible for all of us, and we must do it. And this is what is called to be understood by being spiritual, by feeling ourselves as the spirit, the Deva, and the illumined divine presence in us, identifying ourselves with that. And so, that is the meditation, that in and around and everywhere we will be able to see the same one divine principle manifesting. It is, and that does happen. It is not that it is just something that is a theory and developed by some weird people. No, it is the idea that has come out of the experience of the sages for the benefit of us, so that we also can lead a truly happy and illumined life, and the life of knowledge rather than the life of ignorance. The next two verses again tell it with the different analogy, that's all, which emphasize the need for sadhana, that you have to do this rubbing. It is not an intellectual this theory or concept, but actually you have to meditate, do this rubbing, and this rubbing is done. This is called the yoga actually. In the next chapter, this will be developed more and more. But this is the basic thought in Upanishads that the yoga or the spiritual practice is to be taken up with great earnestness. No, no, it is there, I know, I don't need right now. Then it will never come up. It is, therefore, one has to be up and doing, highly disciplined and dedicated meditational practice has to be done. That really pervades the whole of our life then. Every aspect of life gets tuned into the meditative practice. That yes, you you see see what are all these problems. We have so many psychological obstructions, and one has to resolutely remove them. No, I am not a person like that, and this is our bondage. And no, I have to change it. If I am not a person like that, then let me become a person like that. This comes at a, sometimes very painful, because we are adhering, sticking, we are addicted to our ego to such an extent that I am such and such, I am so and so. Well, that is my bondage. Do I want to become free or not? If I want to become free, I have to mercilessly kick out this idea of I am so and so. And it takes practice, friends. It is, let me tell you, this is not as easy. It is very easy if we want to do it, but wanting is very difficult. Somebody, it is asked Mark Twain, how do you write all this humorous these things? Is it must be very difficult? I don't see how. Well, it is very simple. It is whatever thoughts you get, one keeps on writing. That's all. Uh, of course, then he takes a pause and says, but that getting those thoughts is not very easy. So, writing down the thoughts is easy, but getting those thoughts is not that easy. It is. So, getting this thought that I have to do this work, I have to tune my life to it, I have to live my life for this, I have to change this idea that I am such and such. I am basically a very scared person. I get scared by everything. I get jittery by everything. Well, this is how we keep on conditioning ourselves. Let us get over it. It will appear to be tough, but every process of de-addiction is a bit tough. But one has to go through that terrible grind. So this is Tileshu Tailam Dadhani Vasarpi Apasrotuh Swarnishu Agni एवं आत्मानमात्मनि गृह्यते असौ सत्येन तपसा योऽनुपश्यति सर्वव्यापिनमात्मानं क्षीरे सर्पिरिवार्पितम् आत्मविद्या तपोमूलं तद्ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् Tad Brahmopanishad Param. This uh, in English. This is given like this. That Roman script. Tileshu tailam dadhaniva sarpi apasrotasu arani shu cha agni. That you see all this, like the sesame, there is oil in that sesame seeds. There is the fire in wood. It is so. In this same way, the Atman is in us. And so, what is to be done there? It is told as oil in sesame seed, as butter is there in curds, uh, as water in the underground springs, as fire in the wood, even so the self is perceived in the self. He, of course, he includes she here, who, by means of truthfulness, self control, and concentration, looks again and again for this self, which is all pervading like the butter contained in the milk, and which is rooted in self knowledge and meditation. That person becomes that supreme Brahman, the destroyer of ignorance. So it again underlines the tremendous need for practice. It has to be very dedicated practice. Okay, sometimes I will do. Yesterday I was talking to one devotee. Swami, I do sometimes, but I think it is not working any time. What is the use? I don't see, and so forth. You say that kind of lukewarm practice is not going to really do much. One has to be up and doing tremendously concentrated practice has to be undertaken. There is no choice. If you want to be happy or not, ask yourself. If you want to be free or bound, ask yourself. And if we want that, let our life be tuned to that. Whatever we want, we tune our lives to that. So let us tell ourselves, I want to be happy, I want to be free, I want to be peaceful. And then tune your life to that, and you will get that for sure. And this is something that one has to take up with great urgency, resolve, and determination. It is not work for lamby-pamby. That namby-pambys are not going to realize this. One has to be fully resolved, up and doing, putting in all the 100% efforts in this. And then we see the life changes. It does happen. Let us remind this to ourselves. The next chapter, this is the end of the first chapter. The next chapter is giving the details of this yoga or spiritual practice. This word yoga comes in this Upanishad very often. We shall now meditate for 30 seconds, and then if you have any questions, please feel free to come up. Yes, please. Yes, Paul. Yeah, it is, yes. All that is visible, that all that we identify with is this wood. In that wood there is the fire of divine hidden, and this is to be rubbed with the meditative, all pervasive meditative practice. Means that not just when we are sitting with this kind of a Buddha posture, but all the time that meditative awareness should continue rubbing this false awareness. And then in that we will discover the illuminating blissful truth. So we shall conclude with the closing prayers. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.